Chat, we have leaks. We have leaks. Leaks are out. Chat, Columbina's kit is like actually pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's go through that. Her normal attack talent is normal, except if you have Verdant Do, you can use it to make her do. So she can be Nefer basically if she wants. She doesn't want to because no one wants to be Nefer because she's cringe and also boring and also cringe. But she can. Next, calls upon the tides of the moon sea. I feel like that's kind of redundant. Like as opposed to the tides of a sea that does not have its tides affected by the moon. Like whatever, it's fine. When nearby party members trigger a lunar reaction or deal lunar reaction damage, Columbina gains New Moon's Omen for 2 seconds, accumulating 20 gravity every 2 seconds. Max gravity is 60. Gravity is removed when the ripple expires. When gravity reaches max, triggers tidal interference based on the most accumulated lunar reaction type. Basically, her skill deals hydro damage over time, and based on the reactions you've been triggering, it also deals damage of whatever reaction you've been triggering between Lunar Charge, Lunar Bloom, and Lunar Crystallize. Her burst increases the damage of lunar reaction damage. Yeah, increases the damage of lunar reactions. That's it. 20-second duration, 15-second cooldown is nice for rotation. Passives, when tidal interference triggers, which again, tidal interference is when she deals the lunar damage. How are you getting more than 2 stacks? Does the duration refresh every time you trigger it? Maybe. Whatever. She gets some crit rate from this. That's cool. Law of the Crescent. While inside burst, characters gain effects based on the trigger lunar reaction. For lunar charge, the storm clouds hit faster. For lunar bloom, you get that like second Verdant Do that had been leaked a while ago. And for lunar crystallize, they have a chance to hit twice, but we don't know what the fuck lunar crystallize does really, so that's not very helpful for now. Honestly, none of these passives looks that impactful. I mean, the lunar crystallize passive looks like the most impactful one, but we don't fucking know what it does, so like we can't really say that for sure. There's a description for lunar crystallize, yeah, but we don't have damage numbers, so it's not very helpful. Moon signs benediction. So Columbina does allow you to do all 3 of the lunar reactions, right? Lunar charge, lunar bloom, and lunar crystallize. But unlike the dedicated supports and carries that increase the lunar reaction damage by 14% based on their stats, she is only 7, but to all of them. And we also already have the damage numbers for her skill, so we can't really say much about the crystallize thing because honestly, no clue. But we can look at the rest. So I've seen people say that this hits every 2 seconds. I think that probably makes sense. Like, I can believe that every 2 seconds. I think that makes sense. Supposedly this hits every 2 seconds, and the other ones, it's gonna be like one of them every... Wait, no, yeah. So this is every 2 seconds, the 15%, and then the lunar reaction damage is every 6 seconds, but it's only one of the 3. So let's go take a look at what that looks like. Yeah, that's that. Also, yeah, this is talent level 8 for some reason. Usually talent level 9 is the 6-ish%. 6. I'm not... why? Say it. I don't want to. So, am I crazy for thinking that this kid isn't that insane for an Archon character? Like, I feel like it does fulfill the, like, fantasy of an Archon being, like, pretty dominant in the meta when they're released, because she's obviously going to be used in teams that do Lunar Charge, Lunar Bloom, and Lunar Crystallize. But also, yeah, it's a boring kit for sure. Okay, here's the thing, okay? I feel like she's not going to be that good with Nefer because she's going to steal Llama's buff from Nefer. So you're going to have to hold D on Llama, right? But I guess you can because of the extra dues you get. And by the way, like, what the fuck do you mean they're called Mountain Dew? Like, maybe the reliable tag was given too early, actually. like, I don't know. Let's start with Flins, right? I just want to look at her personal damage first. So we do something like Flins, Nefer, Sucrose. And I guess she'd have the new artifact set, right? So 60 reaction damage. Apparently her lunar charge doesn't get the ×3. Wait, really? Are you sure? Because the lunar charge number looks much lower than the other 2. So yeah, I feel like you're spreading misinformation right now. Maybe you're right. Shit, maybe you're right, actually. What the fuck is this? Yeah, okay, I think you might have been right, actually. Oh, no, chat, I'm an idiot. I'm a complete idiot. This isn't ×9, it's ×3. It doesn't happen every 2 seconds, it's every 6 seconds. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I mean, that's a lot. But it's not like a game-breaking amount. Yeah, like, although you are also getting a little bit more damage from the lunar charge reaction itself, triggering more often. Okay. What about in a Nefer team? Yeah. I wish I could actually like properly look at Illuga and how do you say this? Is it like how do you say this Z? Is it J? Is it J? Is it Z? It's T? It's shut your bitch ass up. Okay, noted. Noted. Thank you. Close to T. Like Zi Bai? Zi Bai? Sounds right. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. It means calc in Mandarin. That's really funny. But yeah, like to me there's no point to reading this kit because like these are gonna be lunar carries, right? Like unless I'm an idiot. Lunar Crystallize damage. Yeah. And we don't have numbers on the Lunar Crystallize reaction yet. So like reading these is like meh. This probably same bullshit, right? Yeah, Lunar Crystallization. We can like give it a quick look. Calls forth a fragment of ancient authority entering the moonshift interstice. What the fuck is an interstice? I know what a solstice is, but what does the stis suffix mean? Gap? Oh, I see. So she enters the moon hole while in all right. She's White Horse is giving mooning a whole new definition, huh? Now let's just go moon. Let's just go moon. Columbina will moon. I tried mooning and was arrested. That's because you don't got that dog in you like Columbina does. Okay. While in this state, her normal and charge attacks are converted to geo damage that cannot be overridden. Those attacks generate a resource bar, and she can use that resource bar to unleash a special skill. During her skill, her fourth normal attack hits twice, dealing geo damage equal to the original hit's damage, and this damage is treated as lunar reaction damage. No, God. So if you dash before the N4, you just don't get it? That's really funny. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, that is so fucking funny. Oh my God, that's funny. Oh, that's hilarious. Dude, imagine if Lunar Crystallize, like the way that it's reworked, it doesn't give like a source of resistance to interruption anymore, and she ends up like the most prone to interruption character in the game. That would be so funny. Anyways, after casting the Heavens Shift in Silence, White Horse enters this mode for up to 15 seconds. What the fuck is the Heavens Shift in Silence? Okay, that's the skill. They're just repeating what they've already said. Okay, cool. Okay, so during her skill, her fourth normal attack does lunar damage, and she can also generate a resource, like pseudo energy resource that she can also use to do lunar damage. Yes. Okay, cool. And she generates 10 of the resource per second, 5 upon hitting enemies, and it costs 70 to do the special skill. Also, when nearby party members trigger Lunar Crystallize, she gains 35, up to once every 2 seconds. That seems fairly trivial to do. Yeah, it does seem a lot like Kanich, actually. That's true. You can only use 4 of them, so no 5E or 6E Kanich tech here. I'm sorry. You're forced out after 4. Ribbozo. And her burst does lunar reaction damage. That's it. Passive, when she casts her skill, or when I assume this is something related to Lunar Crystallize happens, she gains Lunar Descent, which increases the damage she gets on her skill. For each party member whose element is Geo, her defense is increased by 15, and Hydro, her EM is increased by 60. That's whatever. Cool, I guess. This is like a fairly straightforward character. Like, this character's fun aspect is gonna be carried by the novelty of Lunar Crystallize, because this is really boring. While out of combat during the night, Zi Bai restores 1 energy every 2 seconds. That's funny. Holy base. I'll be honest though, this is actually a useful exploration passive. You look at her sig? No. You're right, that is not a lot of text. After the wielder casts the skill, Lunar Crystallize reaction damage is increased by 64% for 5 seconds. That's it. Bet. Well, rating out of 10 of how much I like this kit, this is a 3 for me. But my thoughts on it could very well change based on what the lunar reaction, like Lunar Crystallize itself does. Out of 5 or out of 10? Out of 100, buddy. We're talking percentages right now. No, out of 10. Read her C4. During her skill, her normal attack combo will not be reset. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. I wonder if you ever, like, intentionally delay your last E so that you can get more N4s. Maybe there's some interesting stuff there. Anyways, last one. Illuga. Was Illuga the character Flins was yapping about, by the way? Oh my, chat, am I a lore knower? Holy fuck. Also Illuga, is it? So, elemental skill, Dawn Breaking Messenger. Summons a dong. Oh, a dong. Like, this is a name. I see. A faithful messenger bird who fights alongside her. I think it's supposed to be him, right? Whatever. Tap or hold to command different attacks. Tap, a dong dives forward, striking enemies and dealing geo damage. Hold, seems like it does the same thing. Cool. Burst, dealing geo damage and gaining a buff for 20 seconds. This buff has 21 stacks, and when the active nearby party member deals geo damage, consume 1 stack to increase the damage, scaling with Illuga's elemental Elemental Mastery. If Illuga casts this burst while there are geo constructs created, or the constructs are created after you use the burst, you gain 5 stacks per construct up to plus 15. Okay, so this is like Yunjin if Yunjin was good, probably, right? I actually really like this. This is actually such a cool kit, because like it has a really dynamic interaction with constructs, where constructs get you more stacks, but they can also consume the stacks themselves, so maybe it's not actually worth having construct. I'm actually like this is cool. This is really fucking cool. If Illuga is not complete dog shit, they're probably gonna be like borderline necessary for White Horse, right? Check cons. Oh yeah, I guess I should. After Illuga uses kill or burst, nearby other party members gain 20 geo crit value. Characters affected by his burst, no, probably, I think, also gain 50 EM. If the party contains, okay, the motion value increase from the burst is increased. Holy fuck. What the hell do you mean? The normal increase is 7 and the lunar reaction increase is 60. What the fuck? That is a major difference. Holy shit. Increase by versus becomes, no, because it's the bonus that's increased, or that becomes 60, right? This, what it's saying is that it's not 67. It's 60 instead of 7. I don't like the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. The order isn't necessarily wrong, but it's really close to being wrong, so I don't like it. Anyways, let's look at the constellations now. While Illuga is on the field, when geo-related reactions are triggered, he restores 12 elemental energy, so it's just 12 energy refund. Seems really good. No moon sign passive. Is that wait, you're right. Oh, yeah, okay. That's funny. Wait, does he count as a mooner? Columbina will moon, at least, because I don't think it says it anywhere. But yeah, I feel like it's probably a mistake if it's not there. Like, I could see him not enabling Lunar Crystallize, but him not even counting as an Outcry character, I think is really unlikely. I mean, it's possible, but like, God, I'm begging. Please don't be the case. Do you like the SKV Shovelers like passive? No, but I don't hate it as much here, because it's like pseudo-linear. Like, it's not actually linear, but it's pretty close to linear here. Like, what I really hate about Shovelers and Escoffier is how the difference between having a team that's full of characters that fulfill the requirement and that's 3 out of 4 is massive. And the difference doesn't seem nearly as big for this. So I don't mind it as much for this, but that doesn't mean I like it. C2. For every 7 stacks consumed, Illuga summons a Dong to strike a nearby enemy, dealing geo damage. This is not considered lunar reaction damage, so it's probably kind of dog shit, right? Because you're probably not building any damage percent on this character. So the C2 sounds fucking dog shit. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the extra geo application is helpful for Lunar Crystallize somehow, but it doesn't seem very good. C4, while burst is active party member gains 200 defense. Okay. C6, okay, well, C6 is another, another 30 CV and 80 EM. No, and 30 EM and 30 EM. Because I think it's replacing the 50 by 80. It's not plus 80. Okay. I will say the constellations don't look like they're that insane of a deal. So this is like the constellations don't look like they're meaningless, but this doesn't look like a Farazan, you know? Like this doesn't look bricked at C0, yeah. C2 is important. Are you sure? Because like I can see a world where the C2 would be important, but I feel like 3 extra instances of off-field geo application probably isn't that good. For Serenade. Does he not have off-field hits outside of that? I see, he doesn't. Okay, you're right. That is kind of a big deal then. Yeah, okay, that kind of sucks. That's true. Oh, I don't like that then. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's C2, not C6, but yeah. Because of you of the leagues is Columbina talent books. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, I actually saw that before I went to bed last night, and bro, I was pogging IRL in my bed looking at my laptop. I was like, I told you Columbina would be mooning. I'll just go spend resin ones. I have to figure. Actually, no, let's just go moon. Let's just go moon. Columbina will moon. He's Loki a shielder with his EM scaling on Crystallize? Well, no, because he wants to be played with Lunar Crystallize. So no, clearly he's not. Because Lunar Crystallize is not a shield. C1, Blooming Plains beneath hidden peaks. Casting Tides of the Everdeep. Is that her burst? Probably, right? No, that's her skill. Okay. Casting skill immediately triggers 1 instance of lunar damage up to once every 15 seconds. When the lunar damage is triggered, it has a bonus effect. If it's lunar charge, it restores 6 energy for the active character. Huh. This is is actually kind of nice. For the Nefer haters in chat, this is a way for Flins to obtain energy without necessarily needing a second electro battery. So that's kind of nice. Lunar Bloom, increase active characters' interruption resistance. That's kind of funny. I feel like that kind of sucks though. Lunar Crystallize, you get a shield. Oh, okay. Additionally, nearby party members' lunar reaction damage increased by 3%. This has to be wrong. This is gonna be 3% per something. This is not 3% reaction damage increase. Oh, is it 3 per? Okay, never mind. I see. It's just 3 on all of them. Never mind. Okay, that's kind of weird, but okay. Okay, C2, gravity accumulation speed plus 34%. So basically you'll get 4 per 18-second rotations instead of 3. When tidal interference triggers, Columbina gains 30% HP for 8 seconds. And during those 8 seconds, lunar charge increases the active character's attack by 0.7% of Columbina's max HP. What? Huh, okay. So it's like 2 to 300 attack. Increase character's EM by like 1 to 150. And defense by also 2 to 300. Okay. C4, when tidal interference triggers, so when the lunar damage hits, Columbina restores energy. Also increases the damage of your tidal interference. The lunar reaction, that doubles. That's more than double, is it not? That goes from 8.8 and you gain plus 12.5. I'm sorry, what? Oh, can occur once every 15 seconds. Okay, I was like, holy shit, man. What the fuck? Okay. I was like, huh. Okay. So basically, this is yet another equivalent of like +1 tidal hit, right? And then C6, while inside Moonlit Domain, after triggering a lunar reaction, for 8 seconds, increase crit damage of the corresponding elemental damage for all party members, and 5 elevation. Okay. So basically, each of her cons is like +1 lunar hit. Like, that's basically what all the cons are. And then plus a little bit of extra stuff. Because C1 gives you +1 hit when you cast skill. C2 gives you +1 hit from the fact that the hits happen a little bit faster. C4 gives you +1 hit from the fact that the first hit each rotation does about double damage. And then the C6 is different. It just increases crit damage. All right. It's like, they're kind of weird constellations because it's like Columbina's purpose in her teams is very split between being a personal damage dealer and a buffer. And I feel like pretty much all of her constellations are intended to reinforce both aspects of her kit. So none of them is gonna look that impressive because they're all reinforcing both her personal damage and her support aspect. But that doesn't mean she has bad constellations. Like, I don't think these are bad cons. I think they're very 2025, you know? But yeah, whether or not she'll be good as a carry is gonna be entirely dependent on how good her charge attack scaling is. Interruption res is bad. I mean, yeah, I'd say that's probably the only bad one here, right? The interruption res for Dendro characters is kind of ass. But it's not like the C1 doesn't do anything, right? Like, the C1 does give her a lot more personal DPS. And you get the elevation as well, right? Which I didn't include. But yeah, for the Nefertine specifically, it's probably not as good as like Sig or something. When he has one all be buffed by Llama, I know. That's why I did 18, not 15. Is Illuga the GOAT? In terms of kit design, yeah. Honestly, this is a really cool kit. I like it a lot. In terms of numbers, we don't know yet. We don't really have numbers. We have some numbers, but we're still missing a lot of them. Okay, I will give you my thoughts after having gone through all of the kits on the design of all 3 of the new upcoming characters. I already talked about White Horse design. I think is a 3 out of 10. I think the things that make White Horse stand out, right? The things that White Horse has got going for her are she's got an infusion on skill, right? That's obviously not new. During that infusion, she has a special skill, right? Like Flins, like fucking Sino, whatever, right? And she can use that special skill as her main source of damage with a pseudo energy resource that she generates by existing, doing normal attacks, and triggering Lunar Crystallize. But all 3 of those are basically just what's gonna happen naturally when you play her, when you just mash left click, right? So the like gameplay like pattern is gonna be enter your skill stance, normal attack until you have skill, use skill, repeat 4 times, and that's that. I do think there's a little bit of interesting stuff, like her optimal combos, because her N4 does more damage than the other ones, because the N4 itself has lunar reaction. There's probably gonna be like specific amounts of attack strings that you want to do in between each skill to make things line up well. There's gonna be some optimization there, but I just think the kit is like, it's something we've seen so many times before, so it doesn't really stand out to me. Yunjin for attack speed, I don't think that'll be good because you don't get directly rewarded for the amount of attacks you do, right? Each attack is 5 of her special resource, but you get 10% second from existing, and 35 from each lunar reaction each lunar crystallize you get. But the thing is, you might want to be careful not to do too many normal attacks, or you might lose out on Illuga Quill buff on your last E lunar crystallize. I don't think you care, because if you're doing more normal attacks, it also means you're doing more N4s, and I don't think there's any part of her kit that will change her EM multiplier or crit multiplier based on whether you're getting lunar crystallize from the N4 or the skill. So the amount of damage you gain from Illuga's Quill should be the same whether it triggers on the N4 lunar crystallize or the special skill lunar crystallize. Who is she comparable to right now in terms of playstyle? I mean, I'd say she's somewhere in between Flins and Cloend. Actually, it's probably just Sino. Like, straight up, it's probably just Sino. Because, like, with Cloend, you want to use your E as soon as your E is a, like, full bond of life E, right? With Sino, you don't necessarily want to use the E as soon as the eye pops, because, like, you want to make sure that you're using the E weaved in at the right intervals, because using your E, like, on the first frame that you can or on the last frame that you can, doesn't change when the next eye will happen. So you want to use your E at the time when it loses you the least amount of normal attack damage to use your E, right? So it'll feel very similar for this character. But yeah, all of this to say, White Horse kit design for me is a 3. But if the lunar crystallize reaction is really cool, maybe there's going to be some interesting stuff there. Next is Illuga. Illuga's really fucking cool, actually. Definitely the coolest kit design we've had in Nogcry so far. So that's how you know he's going to be complete dog shit. But yeah, like, I actually think the kit is really cool. I think quill mechanics in general are pretty interesting because they allow for a lot of dynamic team building. And Illuga specifically, the fact that your quill mechanic buffs a different amount, whether it's like one thing or another, means that it creates a dynamic scenario where you're trying to maximize your lunar crystallize hits while minimizing your non-lunar crystallize hits. And I think that can create some really interesting gameplay. Yeah, I mean, we can take a look at how lunar crystallize works, but we don't have numbers yet, so it doesn't fucking mean anything. When Geo comes into contact with Hydro under certain condition, it creates a trigger, a special lunar crystallize reaction that generates 3 lunar wards. For every 3 lunar crystallizes, a lunar ward resonance will trigger, dealing geo damage. This damage can critically strike, blah blah blah. Basically, they're saying when you hit with things, they deal damage. Yeah, it's it's lunar charge 2. It's yellow now, pretty much. Yeah, although not necessarily, because I don't think it has a set frequency, right? The frequency is decided by how fast your elemental application is. It doesn't hit X amount of seconds. It hits every 3 applications, which is kind of cool. How cool? I don't fucking know, but cool. Does that mean that the Geo characters that have bad elemental application become worse? Thank God they're nerfing Chiori, man. What character has good Geo app? Nobody. Straight up nobody. There is no good off-field Geo. I think the best off-field Geos are Navia and Goro for application. I'm not sure about Goro. Yeah, so like Lunar Crystallize is likely going to be very dependent on your carry's Geo app, right? Isn't Only Burst insane app? It doesn't matter how big your application is. It's just a matter of how often it hits. Sure, Only Burst is 4 units, but that's still only 1 reaction. Although maybe you can use the Petrify aura to trigger a reverse crystallize. So maybe there's something there, but I don't know. One thing I will say though is that one of the biggest issues I had when I was trying to look at Geocarry teams with the witch buffs was that you couldn't really play both Mona and Durin because Mona's Hydro app made Durin kind of not work. So maybe there's a world where the like best Geocarry core is just gonna be Wet Rock with Mona, Albedo, Columbina now. Who knows? I kind of doubt it because I think that's only gonna be the case if Illuga sucks ass, and I really hope that's not the case. I really want Illuga to be good because I think it's the coolest character we have had in Nogcry, but oh well. Anyways, but yeah, Illuga kit design as a whole, I would say, I mean, it's not an Natlan character, right? The kit design since Natlan have just not been the same, but I can give it an 8 and feel pretty happy about that. Anyways, next is Columbina. Honestly, I'm just so incredibly whelmed by Columbina. This is like pretty much exactly the sort of kit I was expecting. It does nothing interesting, but it does exactly what we were kind of expecting her to do. Probably like a 5, unless the charge attack is cinema. Like maybe the charge attack is just really good. Maybe, who knows? Maybe she is actually the new best carry in the game. Like I've learned my lesson from fucking Durin, man. Okay, like Durin was support, can be played as a support or off-field damage dealer. dealer, right? No, his best team is on-field damage dealer. He's just a fucking really good carry. Like maybe Columbina too, who knows, right? So until we see the fucking numbers on the charge attacks, take it with a grain of salt. But for now, I'd say like 5. Finally, take a look at this. We have had a somewhat reliable leak of what the new sets are going to be. And so we know what set they're going to give us for Durin. 2-piece, 18% attack. 4-piece, 25% attack when you fucking do anything, basically. And if it's a witch character, plus 20% crit rate. This buff is available even without witch resonance, but only to witch characters themselves. A lot of people are going to be like, well, this is so much less crit rate than other sets. It is, but it also is giving you a lot more attack. So for some characters, it'll be a lot worse because they're very saturated on attack. Klee, for example, isn't too happy to see attack from the set rather than more crit. But for some characters, it's really not a problem. It's like off-field Durin, for example, doesn't end up with that much attack. Albedo, true. So true. Can't wait to play full attack Albedo. That's my goat. Yeah, I guess it's kind of just for Durin, actually, right? Fischl has Golden Troop. Golden Troop is really good. Razor, I mean, it will be Razor's best set, but Razor would have been much happier if this had more crit rate instead of attack, right? Whereas Durin doesn't mind that it's attack. Oh, Venti benefits from it a lot too, as well. That's true. Yeah, we can take a look at the Razor upscale from this set. So we go from this to is what 18 and 25, right? So it's 43 and 40 CV. Yeah, so it's like 10% DPS upgrade ish. Client shaking, yeah, shaking in her boots, that's for sure. Is it better than Noblesse for Durin in Veracity? That's a very good question. Yes, because when I was doing my calcs, I did not have Durin on Noblesse. I had Durin on 2-piece because I had Chevreuse on Noblesse, but it's not that big of an upgrade, honestly, because Durin isn't that much damage in that team anyways. He goes from 29 to 32k, also 10% ish for himself, but it's like, yeah. This set is like, the more I look at it, this is another whelming aspect of the patch. It is a set, and it is a good set, but it feels like a 2024 good set, you know? It's probably not better than Maréchal Safer on-field Durin, right? Yeah, like 4% worse-ish. Oh yeah, how much better will it be versus Crimson Witch on this one? Decent amount, actually. Maybe Farina's just a fraud then. Maybe that's a lesson here. Maybe Farina's just a fraud. Take that back, I'm sorry. Are Flins and Nefer 135k plus now? Probably, I think. Oh my god, I'm blooming! How's that? How's that, chat? Anyways, let's keep going. Does anyone see like an actual major benefit from this? Klee? Meh. It'll be good for Klee. It'll be her best set and it'll be an upgrade, but it's probably less than 10%, right? Wait, this puts Razor over 100k again, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Oh yeah, that's true. For characters that only care about getting a lot of attack, 43% is more than a 2-piece. So like for the 3 people that run like 2-piece Shenhe, I guess this is gonna be an upgrade. Only for 6 seconds. You can trigger this off field, so Shenhe can refresh it with her burst. Do you think it should have had a team buff? Meh, not necessarily. What's the second set? It's a Columbina set that kind of sucked, honestly. Like, Nefer upscale. I don't even know if it's better than going for a support set on Nefer. I guess, right? 60 damage sucks. I mean, I guess on Nefer herself, it's not that bad, because she doesn't tend to stack that much of it. But like, especially if you're adding Columbina, and Columbina also busts reaction damage. It's like, you get so much reaction damage in these teams already. Like, you're so saturated in that stat that getting 60 of it is like it's good, it's not bad, but it's so much worse than the crit you get from Sky. Like, if we go back to this one, right, and we take a look at what happens on the new set, let's call it Dawn, versus if you could use Sky. I mean, I guess it's not that big of a gap. I don't know. Like, I'm also not including the 10% team reaction damage from Sky because I was assuming you already had it when Columbina was on Dawn. Like, it's not a bad set, but like damage-wise, it is worse than the like good on-field sets, right? Sky doesn't work off-field. I know. I'm aware. I'm not saying this set is meaningless and has no purpose. I'm saying it's just not that good of a set. That's like if someone asks me how good is Archaic Petra and I compare it to Viridescent Venerer and you're like, well, actually, Geo characters can't trigger Swirl. Like, I'm aware, but that doesn't mean the comparison can't be useful to understand the power of the set, you know? Like, you know? Like, it's not a bad set. It's just, like, relatively unremarkable, which honestly, I'm kind of happy about. I don't think we needed another really good set. I'm okay with this, honestly. Who should use which set in Flins and Nefer teams? I'm honestly not sure. Like, the carries still go Sky, and in a Nefer team, you definitely want Columbina on this set because you only need 2 more support sets, and Llama doesn't want a damage set. But in the Flins team, I don't know if it's better to have this set on Columbina or on Nefer. I think it's likely going to be better on Nefer than on Columbina, which means those HP goblets that you cope locked on the Serenade set, they might actually be good. Huge. This also means that the defense main stats you locked on the Sky set are going to be good good for Whitehorse. So that's cool. Are you ready for Columbina's C2 to be the only way to trigger Geo-Resonance on Lunar Crystallize teams? Like having a shield part, you mean? Isn't that C1? I thought that was C1. Is that true? What does your last slot look like? Yeah, I guess you don't have a good last slot that's a shielder, right? Yeah, I guess you are kind of cooked. Damn. Goro doesn't create a shield. Goro heals, though. We're not talking about defensive utility. We're talking about being able to activate Geo-Resonance. The trigger condition for Geo-Resonance is having a shield. And if Lunar Crystallize doesn't create a shield, then you'll need an actual shielder to get the resonance. Dahlia, but Dahlia doesn't do anything. Navia can vacuum one. No, because Lunar Crystallize does not generate shields. Navia's gonna try to absorb shards, and it's not gonna do anything because you don't have shards to absorb. Yeah, does Navia's kit just not work with Lunar Crystallize? They're probably gonna update her, right? Like, they're probably gonna update her description so that it works with Lunar Crystallize too. Surely, right? Surely, right? Like, surely, right? Dude, it would be so funny if it doesn't. What if it's like Lunar Bloom and it also gives normal shields? It isn't. Because we know what Lunar Crystallize does. We just don't have the numbers for it yet. There was never a moment in the beta cycle where we knew what Lunar Bloom did and it was something different from Bloom. Maybe it does both, but I doubt it. Doesn't Lunar Crystallize only happen when it's Hydro Crystallize? I suppose that's true. So if you bring a last element that is not Hydro and the application is weird, you could generate a a Crystallize from a different element. But that means you need to wipe the Hydro from Columbina and generate your Pyro Crystallize or whatever, and then reapply Hydro from Columbina so that you can start applying element again. That sounds really bad. Yeah. I think the last slot is just straight up Zhongli. Yeah, because like you want a shielder that doesn't screw over your reactions and that does something useful for the team. Who does that? Actually, it's just Inefa, isn't it? Inefa, try not to be best in slot in a Lunar Team challenge. What the fuck, man? Ha! That's so dumb. Inefa better than Llama, finally, according to you? I mean, no, because Llama's just fucking... yeah. Llama's is something. Was the context of Inefa here? When you look at the Lunar Crystallize teams, right? Assuming that Whitehorse is good and that Illuga, who's a character that's clearly designed to be a Lunar Crystallize support, is good enough to be part of Whitehorse's best team, and that you want to play that with Columbina, right? You have two Geo characters, but in order to get Geo Resonance, you need a shield. How do you use a shield in that team that doesn't suck ass? And it's kind of only Inefa. Dahlia, but Dahlia doesn't do anything. Do you need Geo Resonance? You don't, but generally, a character's whole kit plus Geo Resonance will be better than most other characters, even if they're better. Like, what's the best non-shielder that you could use in that slot? Sucrose? Maybe? No. No shot, right? Or like, you're interested in buffing defense, EM, and crit, or in dealing damage that doesn't interfere with Hydro Auras. Albedo will be bad because you don't have a second witch. Goro. The thing with Goro is that Goro's numbers kind of suck. So I don't think that Goro is actually going to be better than like Zhongli, for example. Because it's a team that has no shred. Jireg only gives damage. It also shreds Geo resistance. Shilonen doesn't shred if you have 2 Geo unless you have C2. Why do you need a shield? Again, it's not that you need a shield, is that having a shield, you get the character's effects plus 20% shred from Geo Resonance. Do you think Inefa will do enough damage to compensate for Zhongli's 20% extra shred? Oh, 100% yes. Baiju for extra bloom. Baiju will be bad. He will interfere with your Hydro Aura, which will reduce the amount of Lunar Crystallizes you get. There's no Electro Shred for Inefa. Doesn't matter. With Columbina, C1 can Liz do big bursts into 3 mini bursts without 350% ER? I mean, you're still gonna need a lot of ER, but it will help, sure. You know, I wonder how good the Lunar Charge frequency increases Columbina Inefa teams that don't run a Nugcry carry. Honestly, it's probably pretty good. Do you know Columbina's Hydro app? I don't think we have it confirmed 100% yet, but everyone's assuming 1 hit every 2 seconds. How many more Lunar Charges do you get with Columbina? You get a third more. How about Ning with Columbina plus Illuga? I don't expect that to be very good. Because, like, if you lean into Lunar Crystallize, the reaction itself, kind of like how you can lean into Lunar Charge, the reaction itself, all you care about is building EM. But if Ning is decent at it, it means that, like, literally any character is decent at it. I don't know. I don't really expect too much out of that. Like, ideally, what you would want is a character that applies Geo on all of their hits. If you want to, maximize Illuga passive. Because we don't have the specific numbers on Illuga's burst yet. We do have the numbers on the burst increase on the passive, which make it very clear that the damage buff to Lunar Crystallize will be way bigger than the damage buff to Geo damage. So if you're gonna have a limited amount of quills, you want as many of those quills as possible to affect Lunar Crystallize damage. And so you want a high proportion of Geo attacks that apply Geo versus Geo attacks that don't, right? Because each Geo hit will consume a quill. So the more Geo hits that don't apply Geo you do, the more you consume quills without getting the big damage bonus. Geo application has never really mattered. So I wonder who, like, I don't even know for sure who has the, like, best Geo app. N2C Ning is probably decent, right? Noelle has no ICD. Good one, buddy. Surely that's true, right? Surely Noelle has no ICD, right? Because there's a cooldown on Crystallize, it never mattered, honestly. Yeah, I wonder if there's gonna be a cooldown on Lunar Crystallize as well. I feel like there probably won't be. Because the reason why there's a cooldown on Crystallize is so that the game doesn't fucking have a stroke trying to spawn too many crystallized shards at the same time. So I don't know if it'll work the same way with Lunar Crystallize. Charge attack and Star Jades apply Geo with shared standard ICD? What the fuck? Wait, that's so bad. What do you mean shared ICD? And also, what do you mean standard ICD? What the fuck? That's disgusting. Ew. What does this mean? Basically, it means that less than 50% of your hits will apply Geo. And Goro has standard ICD as well, so it's every other hit. They don't have Chiori or elemental gauge data on KQM. She's too recent of a character. KQM kind of stopped doing that at some point. I wish there was a website that had all of it, because Homniji Cat doesn't have the old characters and KQM doesn't have the new characters. Yeah, okay. Chiori's burst is 2U. Did I know this? Doesn't Wiki have it all? Wiki's kind of annoying to navigate. Yeah. So, yeah. Chiori app is like whatever, and like on-field Chiori is not it either. Meh. Yeah, so I don't think there's any character that's like really good at maximizing your proportion of lunar reactions. I mean, I guess Kachina, but like, sure, Kachina has a good proportion, but also the total amount is really bad. So that doesn't matter that much at that point, right? Because like, her skill applies on each hit, I think. No, it doesn't. I'm wrong. Okay, never mind, it's good. Navia Plunge. Okay, buddy, you're not wrong, but like, the whole point of this is like, how can you maximize your lunar reaction damage? If you have to put Xiaonin on the team, you're not maximizing your lunar reaction damage, right? So like, I don't know about that. C4 Albedo, true. GOMC N5, holy, true. Can you check Noelle? There is nothing to check about Noelle. Noelle has standard ICD because all her damage, all she does is charge attack or normal attack. There's nothing to check there. We know how that works already. She has no ICD on burst infused hit. Wait, is that true? I thought bro was yapping out of his ass. Wait, what? Wait, that's real? It doesn't say it here. Maybe it says it in the evidence vault. ICD. Noelle's infused normal and charge attacks apply one UGO and have no ICD. Wait, you might be onto something. What the fuck? What is it with Noelle being the like most fucked character in the game? Like, what do you mean you can just cheat her C6 and her normal attacks don't have ICD? Like, what's going on with this character? Is there any other character in the game whose normal attacks don't have ICD other than like Molani, who clearly has like non-standard normal attacks? I don't think so, right? Like, is she literally the only character in the game like that? Because I think she is, right? You check Shilonin infused ICD? Sure. How did you know this, by the way? How did you come across this information to begin with? It's probably standard, right? Yeah, it's standard. Wait, maybe Noelle is a good Lunar Crystallize carry then. To be fair, it's kind of commonly known by Noelle mains that she has no ICD. How did you even, like, why is that commonly known? That's what I guess it's because if you play Noelle, no matter what the content is, you'll play her against elemental shields once in a while. And I guess it is noticeable against elemental shields. So I guess I understand why they'd know, but I'm still slightly flabbergasted. I'll tell you that.
Goose on the loose.
Yeah.
Goose on the loose.
Goose on the loose.